Continuing on here with Ultra Mega Mega Chapter 7, we have 7.9. I'm going to lump together 7.9 and 7.10 into one talking point here, and you'll see why in just a moment. It's the idea of, now this is going to either sound scary or fantastic, depending on how it is that you want to advertise your knowledge of this in a resume and or in interview, is the idea of two-dimension or of multi-dimensional arrays. Now, essentially all this means is, and again, this is on page 450 and thereabouts, a two-dimensional array is an array that can hold multiple sets of data. Now, do remember here with the all of the arrays that we use in Java, they have to be homogeneous, which is to say they have the same data type. So we can have a two-dimensional array of integers, of double, of floating point numbers, of characters, of, you can actually do strings. And you can have two-dimensional arrays of objects even, but they all have to be of the same type of object. So you cannot have, for instance, one row of text and then data in here. We would have to have that data as represented by string and then have, parse double or parse int from that. The way I found the easiest way to do this is to think about a two-dimensional array like an Excel spreadsheet. It is made up of rows and columns. The rows go first. So this here, and with apologies, this is still on page 450. This little code block here is how we would declare a multi-dimensional array. In this case, it's a two-dimensional array. This is of type double, and you can see here with those square brackets, we have one set of square brackets, two sets of square brackets. This is going to indicate to Java to set up the space necessary for a two-dimensional array. It is going to be called scores, equals new double, because we're setting up a new array of double data type, 3 by 4. So the first number here, 3, corresponds to our number of rows, and the second number, 4, corresponds to the number of columns. Now, the way we would iterate through these, if I scroll down a little bit more for you here, we would see right here a very neat, very tidy little piece of code with two, it's a nested for loop, right? So we have the outer for loop, and this is going to handle the rows, and then we have the inner for loop, and this is going to handle the columns. So if I come back up here to our picture, the way this would go is row 0, column 0 would be the first one, and the way we populate data is the row first, so row 0, and then the column 0, 0, 1, 2, 3. Then we iterate on the row, so we come to row 1, we go to column 0 again, 0, 1, 2, 3. We iterate the row, now we're at row 2, we start again at column 0, and we go 0, 1, 2, 3. So it really, in very, very short order, with this compact 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I will throw in the two closing braces there. 9 lines of code, including our integers, final integers in this case, to manage our rows and columns. 9 lines of code in order to help you get scores from a user to populate a two-dimensional array. So think of a two-dimensional array as, student 0, 1, and 2, scores 0, 1, 2, 3, and then away you go. The big example they have here is divisions. So I have 3 divisions and I have 4 quarters in a year, and that's how you would, continue to populate data into a multi-dimensional array, and that's a two-dimensional array. Now, what I'll tell you is probably you will absolutely positively live your lives every day populating, searching, and sorting two-dimensional arrays. Think of it like an Excel spreadsheet, right? So you're on sheet 1 in your workbook, and you're looking at your divisions. So you have 3 divisions, and we have 4 quarters, and I'm looking at just this year's worth of quarters worth of data. Now, if I come to 7.10 and we look at multi-dimensional arrays, everything works the same. So this is page 462. Everything works the same. It's just in the declaration for our array, we indicate 1, 2, 3 layers of data here. Now, Java, unlike other languages, does not limit you to the number of dimensions it is that you can put into the array. But what I'll tell you is, until you've had an opportunity to really work with two-dimensional arrays, you might struggle with three-dimensional arrays. Until you stop struggling with three-dimensional arrays, if we put 4, 5, 6 different dimensions of data, and yes, we really can have 7, 8, 9, 10, 15 different layers of data if we're doing very, very big data sets that are looking for patterns of behavior that ordinarily we would not be able to see without having artificial intelligence, without having data mapping, without having arrays and files and all that stuff. But all of that stuff comes later on down the line. For right now, what I'll tell you is I will not give to you anything that has I will not give to you anything that has more than a two-dimensional array. And most of this is going to be, simple, just like this. Student 0, 1, and 2, score 0, 1, 2, and 3. So what I am going to do with the rest of this chapter is focus on two-dimension arrays. The addition of a third dimension is, if we had student 0, 1, and 2, score 1, 2, 3. We could track that over, semester 1, semester 2 of first year, semester 1, semester 2 of second year, things like that. That's really what we're doing here with the third dimension in that array. Just here, like it kind of tells you, is think of it like an Excel spreadsheet. This is worksheet 1, and it has my 1, 2, 3 divisions over 1, 2, 3, 4 quarters. Here's last year, my 3 divisions over 4 quarters. Here's the year before, 3 divisions over 4 quarters. That's the way we build up these dimensions in the array. Now, these data can all relate back to one thing, or this is an issue for later on, right? When you go to NIU, when you go to Harvard, when you've got an IBM business certification that you want to do, that's when you'll see these kinds of concerns with multi-dimensional arrays, but really not any sooner than that. So here, with two-dimensional arrays, really the big new addition here is the second set of square brackets here to indicate that we will have more than one dimension to our array. We would populate that as follows. So 3 rows by 4 columns, and that's it. 2- and 3-dimensional arrays.